It's important to be aware of what's possible at all levels. That's why I like to be part of all different levels. It makes me a better director.
This is director Loris Russier, and guys, I've personally been enamored by his work recently, especially his 2024 short film called Makai, which you may have seen. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today, we're breaking down his commercial work for luxury brand Bang Olufsen. They needed a piece that would celebrate 100 years of their existence, and Loris went hard, like he always does.
We had to build 2 elevators to be able to move quickly. It was a real big warehouse where we had to move from a set to another. We had a little electric scooter. Doing this animatic allows me to, a couple of days before the shoot, make adjustments and test things. I think this film, the day after the shoot, I was done with the first cut, yeah.
I asked all the questions, and he gave all the answers. We broke this thing down scene by scene, tapped into his treatment writing process, and by the end, it's crystal clear why Loris gets called to make work at this level. Well, Loris Russier, thanks so much for joining me.
Of course, thank you for having me.
I've been a big fan of your work for a while, and now I finally get to break down something with you. Today we're breaking down this commercial called Sound Elevated for B&O, or Bang Olufsen. It's pretty cool, man, going through different eras like this and being able to like capture all those in the same piece. I mean, it had to be a lot of fun to build all these sets and get the chance to capture and set up more than one type of thing when it comes to era.
Yeah, exactly. I love the challenge of, creating those different eras and do a lot of research on, to do it right, do a lot of research on what was the color palette in the 70s, what was the color palette in the 80s, and make sure like we get this right, and we make those era feel right.
Yeah. Going back to the product, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, the product, honestly, I don't know if I can pinpoint what it is. I assume that they make music devices of some type. But it's interesting. Was that their idea to have a piece like this without really showing the product?
Right. Well, they really wanted to focus on, like, they've been in the game for 100 years, and they were part of all those years in certain way through TV. And you see TV in the 60s, you see the CD players in the 90s, and then you see the big speaker later on. So I think it's one of those cool brands that just don't have to show their product so much. They just want to show they've been there for 100 years through those different eras, and they just one of those cool brands that just don't need to like be on so much on the nose with product, and that sometimes just do a film that tells a story with the product. Like you see the vinyl right here in the 70s. That was the product. You see the CDs in the 90s. You see the TV in the 60s. It's just those products were part of those eras. In a natural way. So that's what they wanted to do.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome, and it kind of ends. It ends back in the real world with headphones, which is cool.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I really love about that last shot I just want to mention. You see the lights on the side, those two lights.
Yeah.
They're exactly the shape of one of their speaker. We remade those. We remade the lights of with the shape of one of their speaker.
Now
Yeah,
that's thorough.
that was
That's pretty sick.
that was a cool touch. Yeah.
Wow. Let's get into that a little bit, because we'll talk. I know you're the director here. You're not the DP. You're not the VFX artist. You're not the production designer. But I think you're the perfect person to ask about all these things, all these like little things that go into making this thing what it is. For instance, let's just dive into this set, because it seems that you
Right.
built a few sets for this.
Right. Well, for context, based on what you just said before, I'm not the EP behind it, but I'm the editor. I edit the video, and I also own the post house who did all the VFX. So
Cool. Okay.
when I take on the project from the beginning, I stay till the end until I deliver the film. So I'm involved really
Okay.
from A to Z in all project that I do. Yeah.
Sick. Well, that's really rad. I mean, talk about having control over the thing. Let's
Yeah.
talk about this set.
The brand had told me the colors, they want the wood, the chrome was important for them, right? And also they wanted to feature throughout the film the red and the blue. But on this set, I just love wood. It looks beautiful. Wood panels in general, I always try to have this in my sets. And
Oh yeah.
obviously the chrome touches. It's just make it shine. It's beautiful. On this shot, as you can tell, we did the ceiling VFX just so we could light it perfectly. So on this behind the scene photo, you see the lights where they at, and it's just, it was better for us, and because I was also a VFX supervisor basically on set since it's my post, doing all the VFX, I was just like, let's light it properly, and we add a ceiling in post, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we just also made a short part of the carpet in the bottom, and we extended that. In the beginning, the carpet was supposed to be a darker blue, and it wasn't working at all with the wood. So boom, on the day, we quickly with the great production design team able to change the carpet and have this gray carpet that I think look beautiful all together. And obviously, like I said, the speakers, the lights, sorry, the light that you see on both sides, they're the same shape as one of the speaker from the brand. So just the brand loved that, and so it all makes sense together, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a set that we're like, oh, this looks cool, great. There's a lot of love that is being put into it, and in the making of the renders before building it.
That's cool. That's cool you took that opportunity to involve the brand in a way that like the audience, the viewer will never really know, but it represents
Right.
what they feel and it represents the brand. That's really cool.
Yeah, inside the elevator, you'll see one thing that we did is that on the left side, you can see we did 100 button because she goes in the elevator, she click on sound on the Bang Olufsen logo, but you'll see right now in the video, all this button that there's actually 100
Wow.
button, and she clicked, yeah, just because it was celebrating 100 years. So just a little detail of you see that's not on the nose so much with it, but just a nice little detail that makes sense with the film.
That's cool. 100 buttons for
Yeah,
100 years.
exactly.
That's sick. So this set here,
Yeah,
you guys, the elevator, I mean, the whole piece is predicated on, getting in and out of this elevator into different scenes and eras. Is that actually the elevator within this scene, or is that a whole different set?
great question. That was one of the biggest challenge. Where like, how do we do this and all that? So this elevator is attached to this set. So we had to build another elevator to be able to move around quickly, because that
Okay.
was only a 2-day shoot, even though it was like 16, 17-hour days, both days. So basically it's almost like a 3-day shoot. But we had to move quickly through different setups. So the we had to build 2 elevators to be able to move quickly.
Got
Yeah,
it. Got it.
2 replicas. Yeah,
Wow.
because sometime we had the back window, as you can see right here, and on another shot, we like didn't want the back window. We were just wanted to have a black fabric, just so it's like fall into darkness in the back behind her. So sometime we had to quickly remove the stuff, and we didn't have time to do all that. So it was just easier to have 2 elevators, so one can be like ahead of us at all times. You see on the other shot where the techno crane is pulling out that obviously we had planned ahead in a lot of extension of the floor, and a lot of cleanups, that were gonna be done in post.
Yeah. That's a cool set, man. How long did it take to build? Who did you put in charge of it? And how confident were you that it was going to end up this perfect?
So we filmed this in Georgia, the country, not the states. I always have to mention Georgia, the country, because then I was like, oh, I'm going to Georgia. They're like, oh,
You do.
right
If
there,
you said
three.
Georgia, I would have thought, the United States.
Right, for sure. So we went over there. Amazing production designer called Lasha, who just so passionate about it. Live also in actually in the Hollywood Hills. He's been a production designer for a while, and created the renders together. Just put a lot of love into it during the prep, and this, in Georgia, obviously it's less developed, I guess, in terms of film or access to right space and equipment as Los Angeles and the America can be. So this is not even like a proper stage. This is a big warehouse. So we had to find a way to create all those sets, as you can see right here. Obviously, it had this sort of grid on the top, so it allowed us to attach the lights. But it was definitely a bit of a challenge, to be able to build all those sets in this warehouse. But the good side of it is that the production designer had access maybe a week before the shoot and was able to slowly take the time to properly build things, right?
Okay. Okay. Cool. So one warehouse in Georgia, you built all the sets in that same place.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
Cool.
So there was a real big warehouse where, to even tell you, sometime myself and the producers, when we had to move quick from a set to another, we had a little electric scooter. Because sometimes it would take to go to the bathroom, can take 5 to 10 minutes on the other side of the stage. It was a huge warehouse, right?
Wow.
So we had electric scooter, boom, to go check out another set real quick when we were running a bit late and things like that.
So, let me ask you this question. You created an animatic for this, and it actually makes sense now. One of my questions was some people I think make animatics for the pitch. They use it as a tool in which to show the vision, to say, hey, here's what I want to do for this. But it looks like this animatic was made actually on the same set you guys shot on,
right,
which is awesome. But who is this for then?
It's for me, because I test. So like I was saying, I'm a director, but I'm also an editor. But I do not edit for other people, but I edit all my work, just because I love to have this control, and I also love to edit and go back to home and just work on it. But I do the animatic because I test things, and I'm like, oh, this gets repetitive here. We see too much of the elevators, and doing this animatic allows me to, couple of days before the shoot, or 2 days usually before the shoot, make adjustments and go to the DP and be like, that doesn't work. Or, for music video, I'm like, that doesn't really fit well the song, that moment anymore. Maybe in slow motion it works better, This allows me to test things. And honestly, beyond that, I think now, that was mainly the thing that I used to do it for. But what I love the most about it now is that I basically pre-edit the whole video. Once we go shoot it, I replace it. Sometime during lunch, not sometime, almost every shoot during lunch, I'm replacing with the shots. I ask the DIT, or on smaller jobs, like NAC, whoever's putting the footage on a hard drive, to just give me proxies, and then I edit. And sometimes cool. I think this film, the day after the shoot, I was done with the first cut. Yeah. Because I basically had edited the whole film beforehand. So then obviously there's always new little things to add that we found on set. But as you can tell, we shot everything as planned. So it's allowed me to go quickly in the post as well. Yeah.
Yeah. With most things that I shoot, as soon as I'm done and I get it on the computer, a lot of the excitement around the editing process, because I edit a lot of my own stuff too, is did it work? Did it go as planned? Does it fit the way that I thought it would? But you're saying you're figuring that out at the end of the shoot day.
Yes, or during lunch too.
During lunch, yeah. That's sick.
I remember when I did this Fortnite commercial with Snoop Dogg last year, or in end of 2024. Yeah, I'd really finished the edits at the end of the third day of shooting, because I was really editing at lunch. I was super excited, and sometime when one set was taking like an hour to set up, I would edit, and it would really allow me to test things. On the third day, I was like, we have to reshoot this thing because we could have done it better. It's missing one shot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. We featured this on our Instagram probably a month ago,
Yeah.
and it got a lot of good love, as it should have. But we got a comment that said, and this is actually the thing that stood out to me when I saw it, is they said, how do they do that trail effect? And I wanted to ask you, how did you do the trail effect?
Well, the trail effect was obviously always part of the plan. It's a little bit her turning on the music go on, and there's a bit of a dreamy effect. This is full VFX. Nothing is, we didn't shoot low shutter or anything like that. So it's really fully done in post, with amazing artists. We put a lot of love into it, tried different things, but the thing that I love the most about this trail effect is that we match the color of the set. So you get a bit of the green, the brown, the red. So this is the same exact color palette that you see right there on the set. So that's why it feels a bit natural.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you could have made this thing neon purple, and I think it would have stood out too much. I love the way that you chose the
Right,
color of it in a way that fits best,
right,
color-wise.
right, right.
That's
I
so
think
cool.
it's a bit of a message that she's leaving a part of her in this set. As she leaves, it fades out.
Yeah,
Um, I love that. I truly love this effect. Yeah.
yeah. Let's get into this scene a little more. What was the challenge that you guys did with this set, with this shoot, this moment? I mean, get into it.
I think the thing that I'm the most proud of this set is that the client wanted to cut it because it was he wasn't fitting in the schedule. It was too much and all that. And I was
Sure.
like, no, we have to do it. I love it so much. So I convinced them that it was the right thing to do it still. Even though they were also like, they wanted to cut it not creatively. They were just like helping production and money. But, as a director, you have to fight for the right things, right?
Right.
I love I love the render in the first place. We found different things, the glass so we could light from underneath, and these panels, that are like not closed, they open, so they like different panels around.
Mm-hmm.
And the other sets, they're very square. The elevator is square. The 60s set, it's all square and all that. So I really wanted to
Right.
do something more in a circle, and also that allow me, and I had this idea of making the floor rotate. So you see when she steps on it, the floor start rotating,
Epic.
which matches the vinyl. So there was like, what's the product for the 70s? It's a vinyl. So then I was like, okay, like if we do a circle room that matches all the vinyl, that's why it feels very, smooth overall, right?
That's cool. And you guys did that
But
practically. That floor is actually moving, yeah?
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's cool.
The floor is actually, so it's like the production design team built a rotating thing. It's on wheels underneath and it's being turned. A bit of challenge lighting this space because during the day the green was catching beautifully. It was a bit tougher to get perfect color palettes out of the lights, as you can see the set here, but
Yeah.
it ended up working beautifully.
Yeah.
But this not was that wasn't the most challenging set. I can tell you later the one that was the most challenging, but definitely had those elements of rotating the floor and all that stuff. But I think the
Yeah.
best part of it is how the production design was well achieved with those different elements.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the reflections, the way the light comes from underneath, everything's really just dimensional. It's such a cool
Right.
set. What is she doing here, by the way? That during this take, is this just like a wide locked off, or is she, practicing her choreography?
Yeah. That's also one thing that you were mentioning about the animatic. When I went with her, on the day before the shoot, we shot the animatic the day before the shoot. I rehearsed everything, as you can see in the animatic. So that allows us on the day to not having to improvise this little choreography. She knew exactly what to do, but we had this beautiful set, and I just wanted her to interact with it. And instead of walking into the space and discovering them, I was like, in that set, the floor is rotating. It's a vinyl playing music. It needs to have more energy. So I just wanted her to like, interact with the whole set and just somehow, you know, feel close to it, right?
Cool.
Um,
That's cool.
yeah. And we
Okay.
knew we have this trail effect, so her movement was creating the trailing effect, the light trail better, you know?
Yeah. 100%. Okay. What's the most challenging set?
The grass, the grass for sure.
Let's
The
get into
grass,
that.
yes.
I love this scene. This
Um,
scene's so sick. It's someone
yeah.
else said, speaking of the Instagram comments, someone said it's giving Severance vibes. And I think maybe because of this scene it is.
Yeah. I think it gives Severance vibe because of the color palette a little bit, you know. There's blue tones in the grass and obviously the elevator, you know. So overall, there's a bit of that Severance vibe.
Was that something you guys kind of aesthetically channeled in the beginning?
No, not really. I actually wanted to. Obviously, Severance was an inspiration because of the elevator, in the way that it was an inspiration to make sure to not do the same thing, but still see what was so well done in Severance. And obviously, I love the cool tones that you have in Severance, but we still wanted to, you know, that's why I want to like the wood panels and not be like, it shouldn't feel too futuristic. You know, that wasn't the goal. But obviously, the grass is more a surreal world, so that connects a bit more to Severance, in fact. But it was,
Totally.
it was. I mean, how can it not be an inspiration? You know, and it's anything with an elevator, you're gonna think of Severance now. You
That's
know,
right. Well, it's it's
yeah,
what was popular now and at the time. So I think it's easier
right.
to pull that as the thing because it's what's popular.
But yeah, the challenges with this set is, you know, if you look at the BTS, we we first start with the grass. It was really hard to get a good amount of grass. We in Georgia, we don't have access to like plenty of fake grass. So the team, I sent you a video of that. The team went in the land, like 30 minutes away from the warehouse, and with a tractor, like picked up the grass, and they went and they did round trip. You'll see. I sent you a video of that where you literally see the tractor getting the grass off the land.
Hang on a second. You're saying that you actually went offset to grab all this grass?
Yes, yeah, they couldn't. We wanted real grass to look realistic because later on there's a fan blowing the grass. It has to feel natural. So they couldn't, you know, get like a vendor that provide tall grass like this. You know, you have to get real grass. So, you know, had to do round trips. I don't. They did a bunch of round trip to bring back grass to get a good amount of grass to have enough for us to be able to extend it so it can fit, you know, what we needed. But the grass was yellow, so then we had to paint every single grass to make it green. That was the thing. Yeah, it was summertime. We shot this in August, so yeah, that was the one of the biggest challenge. And beyond this, we did a lot of scene in this moment. You can see her walking to the grass, and then, you know, right after she sees the sheep, which is a real sheep. Of course, we brought the sheep. That was a very cute moment. The biggest challenge is that we had a lot to shoot, and we had to open up the grass, then close it for other shots. So it was very challenging to move the grass around. As you can see here, we had to set up the dolly. But then there's a shot later in the video with the man sitting on a platform with the speaker, and this one, the grass had to be closed. We had to put the platform on top of it. So it was definitely a lot of production design move that were challenging. But and here, for this moment right here, like I was saying earlier, that's what we had to have real grass. That I really wanted the grass to move naturally. This is done practically. We had a huge ass fan, you know, that blowing hair so the grass can move, and she's acting with her body like she's blown back, you know.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot going on
And
here,
then
man. Did you have to do any like post extension on this grass?
yes, a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Not so much, but we had to extend just to clean up the edges and stuff like this. But
Sure.
and of course, a little bit of distortion that is added in the wind, but otherwise the grass is naturally moving. You know, that's why it reads so well. Yeah.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, I love this shot. I think it works really well, and it dovetails really well with with this shot here, is this a whole different? I mean,
Yeah.
just break this one down for me.
As you can see right before, it's the grass is like there's full grass around her. Then we had to open up the grass and set up the dolly. Then she's sitting on a dolly and somebody is pushing the fastest they can the dolly, like right here. She's sitting on a dolly and they're pushing her as fast as they can. So she's brought back
Wow,
inside the elevator. Yeah.
that's cool.
So yeah,
Wow, so you guys made this grass really work for you. It's like a material that you had, and you just moved it around as you needed it.
exactly. But you know, it takes
So,
time with the tractor, move around. And I was concerned about the ship not being the best actress possible, but amazing ship, you know. I'll never forget that moment where we wanted the ship to do a little bit, you know,
yeah,
and I was like, how are we gonna do that? The second AD, you see her right here, the second AD, she's literally like doing bad to the ship, and the ship was responding every time. So I was like, this is amazing. We literally like, and you can see in the video enough that you know the lips of the ship moves because you know the ships keep doing the sound. You know, you
that's
see the second
amazing.
AD, like that was amazing. Yeah,
That's hilarious. Yeah, animals on
yeah,
set, it's always going to be an interesting time, right?
yes, yes.
Yeah. So, and some animals are more trainable than others, you know. I think I imagine sheeps aren't the most trainable.
No, for sure. But that's why you know they that was like you know that was it's in Georgia. Some stuff is freestyle, and that works a lot in our favor. Obviously, they're obviously
Yeah.
very good at almost everything, and I love that is like you know I can't remember if it was the production designer of the producer that had a friend that had a bunch of sheep. So you know they literally brought like six different ships to make sure you know we had a good one. You know,
Really?
yes, and it's you know it's really a farmer that came with the sheep. Um,
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
yeah,
I
but that
love
was
this.
very cute moment. It's always bring a little bit of joy on a stressful set sometime, you know. Yeah. Oh, you
Oh,
see it
dude,
responding.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't care. Yeah, I don't care if it's a gerbil. If there's an animal on set, the vibes are going to be lifted.
Right. Right. Or baby. Sometime. I mean,
Or
honestly,
baby,
yeah.
yeah. Let's get
Yeah.
into let's get into that scene. You guys
Yeah.
also had not only an animal but a baby on set.
We did have a little bit of a challenge. We had a we had a baby. But we had brought two baby in case. Obviously, they're very young baby, and you don't know if they get tired and things like that. So there
Hmm.
was we had a baby that was there before lunch, and it was amazing. The baby, you know, met the baby. It was beautiful, and great energy. But when we get to set and put the baby in the actor, the baby started crying, and unfortunately we had to, you know, unfortunately, obviously we had to use the other baby. Right, that's the challenges that come sometime.
Oh wow.
Right, yes.
I would have
So we
known. I wouldn't have known.
Right, right. But that's the good work with producers and you know obviously a lot of talk in prep to make sure we had the you know multiple babies because you know the moment like this often happen, right?
Yeah.
And we added the freckles on the face, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah,
but this
yeah.
baby just turned out so cute because look at those big eyes, you know.
Oh yeah.
And it was just it was this moment I remember filming it. It was just a very beautiful, cute moment. Like I said, that you know, how can you not smile and you know.
I want to get into this scene here. We got wires. We got people
Right.
floating.
Yeah.
Super awesome scene. Let's get into this one.
Yeah. So we did set up the wire. You know, she enters the space. So we tested it out. Obviously, you can see it in the animatic that I created when we tested it out and see how she was able to move. Um, Again, here Lulu was the name of the actress here. She was amazing. Um, you can see it in the film how good you can feel the emotion from her. But the
Yeah.
beauty of it again is that when we did the animatic, we got to rehearse everything, and I was able to adjust, you know, the type of emotion that she should give, right? And yeah, we tested it out. We saw that, walking and going up was possible, and I just wanted her to float and have this sound wave that is pushing her.
Hmm.
When you watch the film, it's kind of like the wind that blow her out in the grass that leads to, that connects to this like sound wave that is like pushing her still here.
Oh yeah,
Obviously,
sound wave, of course.
right, right. It's the wind that you see in the grass is a sound wave, and it's continue here, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's smart continuity there.
But in terms of technicality, obviously, you know, um, we shot her on a black void right here. DP has set an amazing Shane Bagwell, the DP. He had set an amazing ring of light around her, so the light can sometimes go from green to blue just to feel natural in space. That is
Mm,
different colors, right? And on one side it could be the sun. We still didn't know exactly how we were gonna do the post. We did had tested some stuff, but you see right here the lights moving from orange to from warm to blue, and
that's cool.
yeah, and then we just did a lot of posts to create that background to make her feel like she was floating in space, obviously, and wire removals and all that.
Yeah.
We had a techno crane that allowed us to get a good height, to catch her up in the air like that.
I imagine this lighting is interesting because you want to get the light on her, but you don't want to get it on the background, then or else you lose your in black infinity, right? Is that how you guys did that?
Yeah, exactly. And because we knew she was gonna rotate like this, as she's like looking around, the best way was to do this ring light and have the lights rotate around her, because otherwise she's backlit or she only lit in one side, and like you say, otherwise it's just like fall off in the light and then appears in the light, and we didn't want that. So yeah.
I'll ask you
you
because
s-
you know your VFX. I mean, I've never worked with wires like this. When I see like this behind the scenes shot here, I look at these wires and I'm thinking like, man, those don't look so easy to take out in post. Is it a big roto job? I mean, how does it work?
yeah, I mean, it's a decent roto job. Obviously there's tools, for VFX to wire removals, but yeah, most of the time it's you go frame by frame and you have to remove the wires, right?
Hmm.
And that's why obviously the shot is not so long, but obviously right here there was wires, and they go frame by frame and just clean it up, right?
Mm,
It takes a lot of time, but this is a common thing for VFX artists to do, right? So obviously it's always achievable, right?
yeah,
um,
yeah, that's
and
cool.
we try to, because of my knowledge in post, I try sometimes, if the camera movement is not so needed, I try to not move too much the camera to make sure the VFX is perfect. You see the
Mm.
different layers.
You're saying less camera movement makes things easier for VFX in certain settings?
For
Yeah.
example, removing wires. If the camera is static, you just paint out the wire, right? If the camera
Hmm.
move, you have to track. It's a little bit more work, right? So having a
Sure.
post off and be aware, I rather, if I know the camera movement is not so important, right? Then I just try to keep it simple. Maybe it's very light pushing, or it's static. Um,
Hmm.
you, it's important to be aware of that, because if you just do, let's do a beautiful camera movement, and then in post they really struggle, and either they push the timeline or it's too expensive. It depends obviously of the type of project, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, the beauty of having a post is that since I'm the director, I can push the post further, because it's my company, right? And I don't have
Right.
to deal, with the extra cost at all time working with another company. But yeah, it's important to be aware of what's possible at all levels. That's why I like to be part of all different levels. It makes me a better director.
Of course, because the amount of small and big decisions you're making with speed on the day, if you have all that perspective and knowledge, I assume it really helps you make those decisions quickly.
Exactly. Yeah, sometimes like it's okay, we can extend it. I know we can extend it. I know what's possible in post, so it saves a lot of time on set. Or sometimes I know it just makes more sense to do it practical.
Okay, we're going back in time here. It's vintage set, black and white.
This is meant to represent the 20s, because this product right here, that was when the brand Bang Olufsen was created, obviously in the 20s. It's called the Eliminator. It was, a long time ago. And so in the 20s, obviously, film was black and white. So, but more than this is throughout the film, you will see one element is that any sets that she steps in, she interacts with it. So in the 20s, she's gonna click on the button and she's gonna bring life to this set. It goes from black and white to color. You see it in the 60s where the TV goes on when she steps in. In the 70s, she goes on and she click on the vinyl and then she activate the floor. The floor starts rotating and the light trail starts, right? Every set that she steps in, she creates, she interacts with it, right? Something happens. That was like an important element for me to have. A bit of a challenge that we had. First, that was the last scene we shot after 2 16-hour days. So we only had about 15, 20 casts. So we had to shoot 4 times, table here, table here, table here. So on the final shot, you actually we duplicated the people. So it just took a little bit of time because we had to, to move the table and move the people. As you see the shot right here. There's only 2 tables, one on the left, one on the right. Then we had to move the right table to lower and then, things like that. Yeah, boom. So we can have a full room.
So there's like 2 or 3 of the same people in this shot, do you think, somewhere hidden?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They behind, like, I can, for example, tell you that the guy on the right of her right now is the same guy in the back left. Yeah, this guy is the same as the...
I see him back there.
Yeah, there we go. That's the same person. But you gotta be smart with it. You can overlay on the camera and see. Obviously, we can really tell right now. That's why you think a little bit about it and you position people right, and it's a bit of a good amount of prep to know. And they dress in suits, so it's not like they had a pink shirt. Obviously, you will be able to tell.
Yeah. I want to get into this scene. This thing's cool.
Yeah,
I love this one, man. Let's
love this one.
She's just going through these different portals, and every time she goes through one, she changes wardrobe, seems to change era. Tell me about this one.
Yeah. So this is actually this is the representing the 90s. So you see the product with the CD going up, and it's more like what we wanted to portray here, and it was a great idea from the agency here, is that it's in the 90s there was so many different styles of music. So actually every time she goes through a portal, she like enter a new style. So this was more, there's the hip hop style, the grunge, that was the grunge, and that's more the pop, that's more the pop era, right? So every time she go through those doors, right, the music changes. Then in terms of VFX, there we go. You see, all we had is a door and a floor. So it was pretty technical because she had to like walk and stay always in the middle, right? For it to feel like the door are coming back. So we made a sort of treadmill. We made a treadmill so she could walk and the door are passing. And obviously, it was a bit challenging the way we shoot because the treadmill was not moving fast enough. So actually when she was walking, she was getting ahead and wasn't staying in the middle. So it was a bit more work in post-production. But it just worked out so well,
Wow.
Yeah, you see right here, she's on the treadmill walking, and then she's moving, and then we were like action, and somebody would pull the door so it can pass in front of her. Yeah, you see up and and at the moment then she changed outfit, and we do this again and again.
How long did it take to shoot that scene?
Honestly, not so long because all we could do is have her move and go through the door. So honestly, like maybe an hour and a half. We had 2 cameras, one on the techno crane on the high angle and one on the ground. The camera cannot move because for VFX is better.
Right.
And she just go change, and we do this again and again.
Have you done anything like this before? I mean, this is a pretty specific, pretty elaborate set. What went into the ideation of this as a workable model?
I don't think I had done anything like this. I think the agency, they had this idea of like seer with different doors, but I was like, how do I take this? When I received brief, I was like, how do I take the same idea but elevate it just so like they still love it, but just take it to another level basically. And I just thought, different music in the 90s and her going through different doors and different like change of style. Maybe I was a bit inspired with this Nike commercial that I did last year, where like we see the talent was Justin Sky and she's walking through a hallway and she changed outfit every time, and I had loved that
Mm,
moment. Maybe I
yeah.
was a bit inspired by that without meaning to do it. We take ideas that we've done or that we've seen and just gotta add our own sauce to it, right?
Okay, so I mean, while we're talking about inspiration, let's get into the treatment that you have for this piece.
But obviously the treatment is such an important part, because this is what can get me the job, right?
Right?
You pitch against other directors, so it's a beyond trying to make the treatment look beautiful and be an aesthetic. Um, you gotta know what you're talking about and what's the message behind it. So you can see a lot of text here, but when then we pitch the treatment to client or agencies, like I want to be smooth about it and describe what are the moments are, and so I like to not put too many images in the treatment. Sometimes I
Mm,
do the treatment myself, and sometimes I get, for this case, I have the help of my team at Pretty Bird, my production company, who helped me put this treatment together. And obviously, it's about finding the right references. They know well my aesthetic. I love anything that is very cinematic, but um, obviously, like it's those references that really
wow, look at
um,
that.
represent. Yeah, you can see the 70s set right here, and you see that a reference that we had found for the light trail effect,
Yeah, cool,
that
cool.
you saw earlier. In the 80s, you see, the baby moment, and the 90s, those doors. Oh, it's funny. I was
Oh,
talking about
sick.
on the top left. It's actually a spot that I had done with the clothes. So, you inspire
Mm-hmm.
your own self sometime, I guess. There's a past video I had
Dude, I
done.
see it all the time, and
Um,
there's no shame in using your own work in the treatment.
oh, no, for sure. I often do it, obviously. Um, and yeah, like sometime, what I do, I realize that for these treatments, we had not done it so much, but you don't realize. But sometimes more and more I use AI, because it's so hard to. Sometimes client and agency, they see an image and like, oh, this is what it's gonna be, But you have to combine different images to like show what the shot you want to do. So some more and more I use AI just for images to represent better exactly what I envision for it, right?
Like, give me an example. Where's an AI example in here? Because it looks like a lot of these references in particular are, I mean, I've seen a lot of this work
Yeah,
before.
I realized I didn't use it so much here, just because we were able to find a lot of references that I was speaking for itself.
Yeah,
But earlier in the beginning, I think there was, I did this treatment a while ago now. So I just did a treatment, for example, where I used like mainly AI, because, straight up, I could not find any references that was representing what I was talking about, because it was,
yeah,
backdrop and some production design that were important, to tell the story, and I couldn't not find, so I was creating those references. It's for this creative that was taking place in the middle of a stadium with like a type of car that is like parked in the middle of stadium. It's hard to find your references. While it's easy, on ChatGPT to put, this type of car in the middle of the grass in the middle of a stadium, and it creates it for you, and it's very useful.
yeah, yeah. In my opinion, that's a great way to use AI
Right.
because we're
Yeah.
always just trying to communicate what's in our head, and
Yes.
relying strictly on work that's been already done before to do that, I think can be a limit for sure.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's limited. My biggest trend is that when I present this creative, I train a bit beforehand on how I present it, and I just wanted to make it smooth and like to really have them project and what the shots are gonna be, and not just look at this image and imagine we're gonna do the same thing exactly as what they see in those images.
Yeah,
With my voice being able to tell them what it's gonna be. You know.
yeah, that's great. I love it.
This left one probably AI. Yeah,
I
but
see. Yeah.
oh no, oh no, oh no, but. Yeah, just obviously making beautiful treatment. It's something that takes time. And
How many people are you typically pitching alongside on projects like this for commercial?
for commercial, it's usually, if it's like through an agency, it's usually 3 directors, so they do a triple bid. So you're against 2 other directors, so they'll also have beautiful treatment. So that's why I'd say it's very important when you present it to the agency. Once the treatment is done, you get a chance to do a follow-up call and just tell them, with your own voice. And it's something that is probably one of the most important thing for me, that I rehearse myself to be the best at it, right?
Yeah,
And sometimes, when it's direct to client, they can be more directors. But I love the fact that in commercial you have a chance to really present it to client, and and
yeah,
and, con- and convince them not to work with you, but that of your ideas, convince them that those are good ideas for the brand and all that,
yeah. The
yeah.
in-person pitch is an interesting one. How many projects are you doing that on?
Every commercial that I've done, you do an in-person presentation. For music videos, it's not a thing at all,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah,
They just get a lot of people to pitch on, so that's why obviously this is 49 pages. This is more developed because I get a chance to like present it in person. For
yeah.
music videos, I do smaller treatments that are a bit more on the nose, with less text,
Sure.
because either it's gonna be single beat because you know the artist and all that stuff, but sometimes you can be against 15 directors,
Right,
right? So, but
right.
in commercial, you usually triple bid, and you get a chance to present it in person, so you get a feeling off of it.
Well, dude, what about this project kind of stood out to you? Like, what do you think that you learned from this one that maybe you haven't learned from other projects?
I think so far in my career, that was the most challenging in trying to tell a story without being repetitive with the elevator, right?
Mm,
Because it's this the set that brings us to those different eras. So me and the DP Shane, we put a lot of love into the doing the right shots, but also have a meaning for every single shot. So not just doing a shot because it's cool to do an eye angle and things like this. I think that's the challenge that I took on. I was like, I want every shot to mean something, or to really
mm,
make sense. And
yeah,
where the camera is, and all that stuff, right? So that was the challenge. Obviously, is on this one is at every levels, but it was to be able to not be repetitive and not be boring for 90 seconds of seeing elevator again and again, and
yeah.
using different layers. Yeah,
I'm imagining
yeah,
as a viewer, I'm halfway through this thing, and if we get back in the elevator and it feels exactly the same way that it did 15 seconds ago, I'm probably out. I'm probably like, oh, I've seen it before. I get it. I get the gist. But you found a way to keep things moving in a way that made me still wonder about what's happening next.
right. And obviously in the elevator, I was like, okay, we do a from the ceiling shot from behind. That's why there's a window in the back of the elevator where like we can
Hmm.
shoot through the back window. Like let's give a bit in the process of designing the elevator. That's what I thought about putting a window instead of just a wall, so we can be outside the elevator and not always shoot her from inside or just walking out. Right? We can be behind and things like this. So that was definitely a challenge, but a lot of prep, storyboarding, and all that stuff, and definitely challenging at every level, from production design to cinematography to scheduling, and all that. But amazing team over there in Georgia, and one thing they're really good at over there is that they're passionate about, and I'm so passionate
Yeah.
about it. That's why I edit and do the post and all that. So then everything is possible, right?
Yeah. I've heard about those crews in Georgia. The country, not the
Yeah,
state. Crews in
right.
Georgia, the state are just fine, but no, I've heard about the passion that comes with those crews over there.
Yeah, I think there's something. I love to shoot in the U.S., but there's something. I'm French too, and like in general in
Mm,
Europe is like there's an extra layer of passion that matters. Of course, that was a cool project. Like we said earlier, it's not featuring so much the product, and we're
yeah.
telling a story here and all that stuff. But it's just like I was saying, those here right here, those two lights, they're the same design as the speaker from the brand.
Yeah.
It's like another layer of like a bit more research than just creating a set. Like when I was telling you, I want every shot to have meaning. Is same thing for production design. She interact with every room, so the floor needs to rotate. Like there was a lot of love put into this, and not just from me, like literally from every department.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. If something could have gone differently, what would it have been?
If something would have gone differently,
Yeah,
in a negative way or in a positive way?
positive way.
Positive
What do
way.
you wish happened on this one that didn't happen?
Nothing, to be honest. I have zero regrets.
Nice, I love that.
I will
Dang,
tell
that's
you,
great.
this is a 90-second spot. I first cut it into 2 minutes and 30 seconds. There's more shots in this film that you see right there that are also amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I gotta be aware, and you know that as somebody that share a lot of stuff on Instagram, you don't want to lose patience. People lose patience,
Yeah.
and so it's better to hit hard and keep it short, right?
Dude, I mean, this
So
shot here, like these two shots next to each other, I could comfortably look at them for 10 seconds each. But here they're like a second long.
right, I know.
Yeah.
Of course, if I could make it longer, I make it longer too.
Right.
But clients love 90-second, which is already honestly a blessing still to be able to do 90-second spots, right?
Yeah. God, yeah.
But yeah,
Did,
yeah, I have no regrets, and I think it just everything went so well. And again, it's not just me. Obviously, like being able to do overtime to just do everything right. So when you plan so well and you have a storyboard, and when I make a storyboard, I always add one extra shot per shot. If I'm like, this is a cool shot, what is the second one? So then on the day I always so I can have no regret, because if something didn't work, I always have a second option, right?
it's good.
So that's what's obviously always like help and makes the difference. Yeah.
And when you're behind, I mean, how many times a year are you behind and you're like, all right, second option isn't going to be an option.
Yeah, exactly. But at least you have
Yeah.
a good one,
At
right?
least you have one.
That you still love. Yeah.
Man, this piece is great. Do you think
Yeah.
the demand or allowance of a 90-second spot will ever go away?
I've read something the other day that said that in 2025 we went back to people loving seeing stories. Because I think actually humans gonna be bored of just seeing moments. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we're gonna be interested again in seeing story. Like
Yeah. I think so much of advertising is predicated on getting quick eyes on something and expressing what you want to express or make people feel the way you want them to feel in the least possible time and the quickest way possible, But I
Right.
think like that works. Of course it works. If it didn't, we wouldn't do it. But I think there's a limit to that potentially, where people are kind of tired of just getting beauty flashed in their face, and they're wanting to connect with something a little more.
Exactly. Yeah, just being able to feel something. I've been editing. I've edited different, longer things or shorter things and all that, and man, it's always like you feel more when it's longer. It is what it is. It's really hard to tell a story in a short amount of time, or at least being able to give feelings to the viewer in a short amount of time. So there's really something about longer form. And I'm not just saying that as a director who just love longer things. Like, I think I've really view myself as 50% director, 50% businessman. I also own a production company, and I deal with a lot of clients, so I EP a lot of jobs as well, throughout the year. So
Yeah.
I'm just aware of that, and I know where sometimes it makes sense that it's short, and sometimes it's important that it's long. And I think Bang Olufsen is one of this brand that they care about the way they're being seen, and that's why they've been relevant for 100 years.
It sounds like you know your way around the commercial world at this level. Um, there's a lot of fun to be had, and I think filmmaking on this level in the commercial world. Yeah. Do you
Oh
see
yeah.
yourself doing that forever?
Yes, I love it, to be honest. I want to get into more narrative stuff, obviously. I did it a little bit with Makai, the poster behind me. I'm
Love that
shooting
piece.
another short. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm doing another short film at the end of the month, and I think I love longer form, but I love shorter forms too. I think it's, you know what I love about commercial? Flying to Georgia, discovering another country, meeting new people,
Yeah.
all of us go crazy and just share like a moment and discovering new way to do new things and, made by different people. And I think in a movie, you go and you go 3 months, 6 months, and,
Yeah.
you don't have this little short amount of time of like, coming together and then it's done. You go back to your normal life, It's also nice, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine.
What about you? What is the future of Frame? I don't think I don't.
No, this is a really cool thing that FrameSet has had the opportunity to do. I mean, we're building up the site. We're trying to
Yes.
offer more and more to filmmakers in the way of not just winning a bid, but finding inspiration. I think
Right.
it's there's so much out there, and I think it's really great to put it all in a place and make it something that people can find it exactly the thing that's in their head before they have to go pitch it and win it. But
Right.
it's a cool position I'm in, to kind of be able
Yeah.
to. I mean, it's my job to talk to people like you. It's my job to
Yeah.
look at what work is being done. We always look at what we call building blocks, because we can see something that looks cool. There's plenty of work out there that looks cool, but what's something that filmmakers can look at and go, I should try that, or I should apply that, or this one piece of this thing I've never seen before, and they apply it to their own work. I think it's really cool. I mean, it can be controversial, this idea of inspiration and people ripping things off and stuff, but
Yeah.
I think it's a net positive.
No, for sure. I mean, I genuinely use the website to pull references. I think what's important is the taste that is being, taken, and like what type of reference are being used and all that stuff. I think that's how Shot Deck and, Flim AI,
Yeah.
all these different websites, they're different in a way,
Yeah.
and Frame is too, and I see the taste that is being put beyond. So I
Yeah.
genuinely like ask this question because like, I'm interested to. I mean, I was interested to see like how far you want to take it, and we were talking about taste that being put beyond brands, and obviously like I can tell that you put a lot of love into it too, and
Yeah.
taste matter. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was
We,
genuinely
we
asking like that though.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Yeah, we take it seriously, 100%. But it's honestly like an insane position that we're all in. It's an honor, you know what I mean?
I
Yeah,
love to
dude.
show the process. It's so inspiring. When I started and I was like, I want to do videos and I want to do a commercial and all that stuff. Like I was spending a lot of time on YouTube trying to look for. I still do it to this day, honestly. Look for BTS. I just love seeing BTS. I've learned about when I tell you the camera don't move. I've learned all this seeing BTS or like behind the VFX and understand it. All
Yeah,
this, That's why it
yeah,
matters so much. Yeah,
it's useful, I think, because it's
yeah,
like, are there, it's just fun to kind of look at work that's being done on the highest level. And even if you
yeah.
know generally how things are done, it's fun to get context on that specific job, that specific
Right,
approach to it.
right, right.
So, well, dude, Loris, thanks so much for jumping on. It was an honor to talk to you,
Oh,
and I can't wait to do this again.
oh, for sure. Thank you so much. It's so amazing to share my experience and just be able to talk to you about it.
Ever wonder how top directors make treatments like these? There's a few ways, but an important one is showing the right reference images. And I don't mean what you can search for in a web browser or screen capture on your phone. Finding those absolutely perfect reference images, in my opinion, is made easiest with FrameSet. Skip the painful, messy, time-consuming search process. They've got tools for that. It will cost you nothing to get started, so try it out.